Balsam, two children, and the relationships within that family. I think it's an extraordinary film. Forgive me for saying that, because obviously as the director of it, but I'm referring, when I say an extraordinary film, in terms of the concept of the writer, which is that all of us have emotions and have feelings that we can't express. And this is really the story of a woman, Joanne Woodward, who feels deeply and passionately, but somehow can't express it. You know, she's not warm on the outside, she's not demonstrative. And watching the course of the film, in which she comes to grips with that very real problem, which all of us have to one degree or another in this alienated society. And I don't mean to make the film sound very highfalutin that way, because it's basically a film about people and a film with energy and vigor. But I think that the audience reaction to it should be very good. I know my four children saw the film. Actually, I've asked many actors, for example, over the years, what they think is the most important ingredient of a director. And it's odd, because while that answer varies from time to time, the one answer that always seems to pop up is that they determine how good a director is on the basis of how good the acting is. Now, obviously that can seem self-serving because they're actors, but it's not quite the same as a set designer saying he determines how good a director is by how good the set design is, or asking a lighting designer and he thinks a good director is based on lighting design. Because the actor, after all, you're watching a film, you're watching a story as presented by actors. And I think that there is merit to that, because the actor is that sense of identification. It's what we in the audience identify with, what we relate to make us fulfill our own dreams and to make us live our own imaginations.
Perfect.
I think that Joanne Woodward is a great actress. And I think that she is a great actress because of her ability to concentrate. She could really hold in herself an entire concept of what this role would be in the finished film of Summer Wishes, Winter Dreams, even though it was being shot completely out of continuity in different countries, different states. Sometimes we'd have a shoot beginning 8 o'clock in the morning, it would go through till 10 o'clock at night, and all those pressures which surround any artist or any person doing their job, of course, with Marty. I mean, to watch Martin Balsam work is to watch the most supreme professional doing his job. He makes everything seem so natural and so easy that I really get a thrill when I say action, because all of a sudden, as I'm talking to you, a normal, everyday person, and you say action, and then he becomes transformed. He transfixes into something else.
Okay. And then just one on Dari. Okay, we're rolling.
While many directors might vary in their answer, essentially, there are two factors. One is what Truffaut has said, which is a director's function is to capture life, is to make what's real and to make what's alive function on screen. The second is more technical, but what it really means is that the director knows what all the pieces are, what's really going to fit together. The film is done out of sequence, as you know. The end sometimes is done at the beginning is done at the end. And what he really provides the actor with is that sense of knowledge. What's marvelous to see is an actress like Dari Brenner, because she's really a natural. I mean, she's trained as an actress, she worked for many years studying, but essentially she's natural. She's got a quality which is really super. So that when we worked on the scenes, that marvelous scene between Joanne and Dari in the loft of the barn, all I really had to do with Dari was just give her the most subtle kind of guidance, in the sense that I remember one instance I said, gee, that this might be a good time for you to turn to Joanne rather than the time earlier that she'd picked, and she just jumped into it and she knew what to do. You know, acting, in my opinion at least, no matter how many comments are made to the contrary, is an intuitive art in large measure. The actress, the actor may know what he wants the audience to feel, he may understand what the playwright has in mind, but basically it comes from here, not from here. And when an actress has that, when an actress has the passion, the emotion, the conviction, it's an absolute delight to work with them, because all that comes free, all that comes from the actor's being. And Dari Brenner really has it. I think she's going to be a major, major star. That may seem an odd statement, because obviously great actors normally are considered great actors because they move you, because the audiences feel for them, because of all those qualities of presentation of life, which is obviously what a great actor does or a great actress does. But somehow, to me, it's always been connected with concentration. Those actors, just as those people in life and in industry, that can focus their concentration to the point where nothing else is interfering with that one absolutely pure thought or that one absolutely pure effort of will, I think is an extraordinary capacity, and Joanne has that. So that there may be something that the actor's doing, and the actor is the most important part, at least to me, in making a film, and the script, obviously, that he works from.
Okay. Difference between television and film.
Other than the difference in the content of the material, things which you can do on television, which you can't do on movies, the basic difference for me comes from the fact that in a theater, you're in a closed situation, a darkened, large room. You come in, you expect to stay in the theater until the film is over, and you're looking at a very, very large screen. When you're watching a television film at home, you're watching a small screen. Usually you're ambulatory, you can go out and get a Coke or come back or take a nap or change to another channel. And what that does is it makes two significant differences. One is the fact that the screen size dictates the use of more close-ups, of less finicky detail than you'd be able to have on a large screen. Because obviously, when the screen is 40 feet wide, you may have 500 people in it, 300 people in it. You can distinguish these things. The room is dark, your concentration is focused. So the first thing that you deal with in terms of television is economy of the visual picture. Not having anything more in the visual picture than the audience can possibly absorb in 25 inches of screen from, let's say, 5 or 6 feet away. The other aspect of it is economy of action, so that you don't give the audience the opportunity to become bored or to walk away. Now, it's a very critical thing, and a lot of people may take issue with that because they may say that what I'm saying is you have to be simpler on television, or that you have to be more concerned with presenting story, ideas, and values on simpler terms. And I think that if you're interested in a popular reaction in terms of having 40 or 50 million people see the film, I think that that's quite true, sad as that may seem. I think you have to be economical, you have to recognize the time factor. You know that in making a film for television, a 75-minute movie is what goes in a 90-minute show, or a 90-minute movie is what goes into into a 2-hour show. So in the final analysis, you have less film time, and you have to end exactly on the button. I mean, when you do a film for the theater, if it runs 100 minutes, 105 minutes, 95 minutes, what you're concerned about is making it as long as it's good and taking as much time as is needed to tell the story. The complexity of television is you may have an hour-and-a-half movie of the week, let's say, which runs 75 minutes. Maybe you only need 70 minutes to tell the story. Well, now you have 5 minutes of pad in effect. Maybe you need 90 minutes to tell a story. Now you have to find out some way of cutting out 15 minutes so it fits in the slot. So I think generally there's a different kind of a discipline, both due to the nature of the time situation in television, and also, as I mentioned before, in terms of the size of the television screen. While there are differences between the making of a television film and a theatrical film, there are, of course, constants as well. What the actor does, what the set designer does, what the director does, all really are the same. It's the same craft. It just varies slightly in terms of the different requirements. That extraordinary ability to concentrate on what that role was, and I'll tell you why that's so important, because a lot of other things depend upon adhering to that very special concept of the role. For example, when we got Jerry Hirschfeld to be the director of photography of the movie, and Jerry is one of the finest directors of photography, I think, probably in the world. He's done many, many, many films, and we talked about what the film should look like. And I had a favorite phrase that I mentioned to him, that the film is really like a dinner composed of white wine and fish. Very delicate, not soft, not pudgy. On the other hand, not full and heavy and robust as meat and red wine, but a very delicate blend in terms of a taste of white wine and fish, which continued not only through the photography of the movie, but through the set decoration of the film, the casting of other roles, the choice of locations, all of which comes from Joanne's characterization, which is that, which is a woman who feels deeply, who feels with tremendous passion, but somehow is not capable of expressing those feelings until the very end of the film. So that all the factors of people involved in the movie, from the actor to the set designer to the set decorator, even to the editor, to every little area, has to have a cohesive direction. And that direction, I use the white wine and fish concept, perhaps it's too esoteric, but the point I want to make, nonetheless, is that that direction has to be adhered to by the actor, because that's the variable that can change by the pressure of the day, the pressure of work, the pressure of whatever else exists in making a film. Sylvia Sidney is a delight. There is no other word that I can use to express my admiration of her, both professionally and also as an actress. And I think what distinguishes her is her ability to concentrate, of course, and her unbelievable professionalism. You know, for a director, there's always not a hesitation, but when an actor does a scene, let's say 10 times or 15 times or 20 times, which doesn't happen too often, but happens often enough, and the director, for any one of a number of reasons, is not satisfied, either with the performance or perhaps because a light fell down or perhaps because there was an airplane sound overhead, whatever it is, and you have to do it again, and you ask the actor or the actress for one more take. After a certain number of takes, it really, you know, you have to keep asking for it, and you're always running into the possible opposition of, well, my best take was the last take, or I'm getting tired, or whatever it is. The thing I love about Sylvia is you could do 155 takes with her. And if you wanted to do 156 takes, she's ready. And not only that, if you're happy with the take, she's always the first person who will say, do you want another one? Maybe I can do a little bit better, maybe I can do a little differently. And that's extraordinary, and it's also not surprising, because most of the really good Hollywood actresses, she's a stage actress, of course, as well, but most of the good Hollywood actresses are that way, and actors. They're always willing, under all odds, to do it again, to try to do it better than they did before. This was Sylvia's first film, I think, in something like 17 years, her first theatrical film. And she wanted to do the role very much, and we wanted her to do it very much, and it was just a happy meeting of two forces. Oddly enough, while Sylvia is the professional that she is, we have another actress in the film named Dory Brenner. Dory plays Joanne Woodward's daughter, and she's terrific in the movie. Stuart Stern and I looked, oh my heavens, we must have seen 150 actresses for the role. And oh, we're on them. The question that is usually asked is one of motivation, because what a director's job is to ask an actor to do something frequently, and the actor just as frequently may ask why. Why do I have to do that? What's marvelous is when you work with a terrific actress like Joanne Woodward or Sylvia Sidney, Martin Balsam in this case, all the actors in this film, they recognize that the question of motivation, of why they're to do something, is really their job more than the director's job. So that if a director were to ask Joanne, for example, to stand up and cross to the other side of the room, the problem can simply be, why? Well, if I stand up now, for example, and cross to this side of the room, then, so the request might have been to the actor to go over and sit on that chair. Now, the actor can decide to come here because he's cold and he wants to put his coat on, or he might decide to come here because he's tired and he wants to sit down, or because he wants exercise. The point is, the actor decides what his motivation is within the context of what the director asks him to do. The director said, walk over from the desk and sit at the chair. Now, sometimes it's tough, and an actor can say, well, Gil, my God, that's so ridiculous. Why would I do that? And, of course, you try to work out something which is reasonable for the actor so that he'll understand and he'll be able to do it. But the delight about working with, or the delight with working with people like Joanne and Sylvia, is the fact that they do their homework. They know that it's their responsibility to come up with the motivation for making the move. If they can't, obviously that's what a director's for. And I might add, Ira, that that's the difference between being an acting teacher and being a director. I used to teach acting at Syracuse University, as you know, and as an acting teacher, yes, at that point I'm concerned with explaining to the actor how he develops his motivation. As a director, I'm assuming he knows his own craft well enough to make that move for himself, and he'll only ask me or work with me if he needs help. You know, you can be 10 actors on a set. If each actor is going to question that motivation, it becomes rather complicated. My three older ones, the range in age from 9.5 to 14 years old, and they were very, very, very moved by it. And even though it's their father's film, true, the fact of the matter is that kids don't kid their father, you know, that they really were moved by it. They're interested in it. And I think that the lines that the film can cross in terms of age and sex and socio-economical, I hope that the response is what I, in my heart, feel that it will be.